once you get to that last driveway, pick it up, sit down, put it on your lap, and make sure that everybody has their own trophy board, okay?
Watch your
Don't
step.
crowd and end up with, 3 people on one board. And make sure that you stay with your group. Also very important. If you send somebody ahead, they're going to have a really hard time saving you a spot. So stick together and go all the way down. Okay, we need to fill in every seat, so please move down one board more. If you would be so kind, thank you ever so much. All the way down, whichever row you choose. Still got a lot of people coming in, and you folks up at the top, it's not a single file line, so if you want to jump into one of those back rows, you're good. If you want to come down a little bit lower, come on down. Still got a couple of seats there in the third row, the orange row. Make sure when you sit down, you have a drawing board on your lap, okay? That is important. And if you didn't get paper outside, grab a piece off the end of the row. Grab a seat now. We're going to be getting started in just a little while. So everybody should be seated once you get to your seat. Sit down. All right. Still, not a single file line, guys. If you want to, you can go into any row you like. Okay? You don't have to wait. If there's available seats, just move on down. And if you didn't get paper outside, there is paper there. Grab a piece and move down. All right, hopefully those doors are about to close. Oh, good, they are. Okay, that means class is in session. First thing I want to know is, are you all having a good time today? Yeah. That was a 10 out of 10. Excellent job, everybody. Glad to hear it. We're going to keep that energy up, too. My name is Thomas Bowe. I'm going to be your instructor for this class, and you're in luck because for an assistant, we have a guy that is an unbelievably good artist in his own right, and a great teacher, too. He's my friend Darren up there. And Darren's here to help you out in case you break your pencil or it rolls under the seat. Anything should rise that you need help with. Raise your hand high. Either I or Darren will be there for you. And if you need to leave at any time, do not be fooled by all these doors around you, okay? Those are just Imagineering's tricks. The real door is up there at the top of the stairs. Darren's pushing it open right now, so if you've got to go to the potty, or you just can't wait for a churro, go back up those stairs and push hard on door number 3, the far right door, just like Darren just did, okay? Now, you may have noticed that nobody gets an eraser in here. That's because when we draw a Disney character, we do it the way that Disney artists have done it for years. It's called rough sketching. And that means that we're going to start out with the basic shape of this character. And here's what you need to remember. Keep an eye on what I'm doing up here and notice that when I start to draw and when you start to draw, it should be as likely as possible and still be able to see it, okay? I just butterfly kiss that paper until I'm really sure that I've got the shapes and the lines that I like. And then you'll hear me say, let's lock it in. Or you'll just see me start darkening in those particular lines and shapes. That's your cue to go ahead and do it. Once you feel good about it, and by the end of it, you're going to have an awesome drawing of an Oscar-winning character from a movie called WALL-E. And we're going to be drawing WALL-E. Who's WALL-E? All right, let's get into it, shall we? We're going to start out right in the middle of our page. Let's see, where's the middle of my page? I guess it's right there, that little belly button. And his body is just a nice size square. You have a great big piece of paper. This can be a really large square, but I'm leaving room up here for his eyes. They do kind of telescope up and down, if you remember. There's the top of my square. Here's the bottom of my square. I'm working on a much smaller scale than you all are under the camera. Hello, Mom. See that? So I gotta keep things a little bit smaller than you all do. So don't look at what I'm doing and go, oh, it shouldn't be any bigger than that. There you go. Okay, guidelines are really important. I'm going to tell you what guidelines are for. They're so that we can find where his eyes, nose, and everything. Now, he doesn't have a nose. But all the other features that he has, it really helps us find them. We're going to put a guideline straight through the middle. You're going to do this, right? Right through the middle of that box. Just like that. See, I'm up above it. I'm going through the middle of it. I'm coming out the bottom of it. And it's pretty even on both sides. That's at least what we're shooting for. And moms and dads, if you got little kids, help them with this. It's a good idea. Let's go about a quarter of the way down from the top. Let's see, halfway down would be right here. I'd say a quarter, maybe a little more than a quarter. This is going to be his control panel eventually. And down here, underneath his body, his wheels are going to be coming down, and the ground that he is standing on, the late great planet Earth, is right down here, about that far. So now that we've got that in place, let's go ahead and draw those wheels in. If you were looking at them from the side, they're triangular. There's like on a tank, you know how they roll around like that on those treads. But in his case, I'm going to go just a little lower than that control panel line and come out on both sides, just about that far, and bring it down to the ground. Okay? Just like that. I keep looking at it, going, is it even? Yeah, pretty close. There's the inside of it. Since we're looking at it straight ahead, it's just going to look like two nice sized rectangles, like that. And you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm going to go ahead now and lock those rectangular tires of his in. So darkening up all four sides of those, just like this. Actually, I'm going to do the top and the sides, and then on the bottom, maybe I'll put a little bit of rubble there, you know? Earth doesn't look so good in the future that we see in this film. Here's the bottom of his body right here. I'm going to go ahead and lock that on in. And since I got some of that rocky rubble, I'll add a little bit more here and maybe a little bit more over here too. And you can even add a pebble or two here and there. No plants though. You may remember there was only one in this film, and that was being sought after by all sorts of people and machines. Let's go ahead and give them those tank-like treads by just adding a bunch of crossing lines like this. I'm trying to evenly space these as I head from top to bottom. This wonderful film was directed and conceived of by a tremendously talented man named Andrew Stanton. He also directed Finding Nemo and helped direct its sequel, Finding Dory. Very, very talented man. And this film is amazing. As I mentioned, I think it won the Oscar for Best Animated Picture. That was obvious. I can't imagine any other film beating it in that year. But it also instantly became an animation classic and a science fiction classic at the same time. For a film to do that is really an amazing accomplishment. An amazing accomplishment. It's not that old, and it's so revered and so respected. I'm going to go ahead and shade those in. I want them to look nice and dark just like they do in the film. So I'll shade these on in, just like that. You can turn your pencil sideways a little bit. You kind of use it like a Crayola. Cover a lot of ground to get a nice smooth tone. I even like to smooth it with my finger a little bit. Okie doke. Now then, not gonna lock in anything up here yet, but I am gonna go to the top of his body right here, and we're gonna work on his eyes, okay? I think this is just about as high as I want it. His eyes are these lenses that kind of come out, and they do move back and forth, and they can even telescope up and down, if you remember. So they sit on this pole, and the pole is emulating from a little rectangle right here at the top of his body. I'll draw that little rectangle in. The pole is just a little less wide than that little rectangle there, that little starting point. Okie doke. Now, go up to the top of this, and we're going to draw what looks like an arrow. But this arrow is, it's not really sharp and pointed. These lines are really laying out. They're taking it pretty easy. Okay? And now from this, it's going to be drawing those eyes in easy. I like to start on the outside, and I'm going to round down and come up like this. Okay? And I'm kind of crossing some lines that I already did. That's okay. This is what I'm going for right here. I'm going to lock these lines in. This gives him these eyes that kind of look melancholy. There's a certain sadness to them. And that's really appropriate because when you watch this film, you go, gee whiz, is this how bad the Earth is getting? With all this garbage that, and everybody has to jump onto a spaceship and go away? And so Andrew Stanton wanted to show that. He captured that sort of sadness, that melancholy in his look. And he told a lot of this story in silence. I mean, it was practically a silent film for the first, I'd say, 2/3 of it. And another great idea that Mr. Stanton had was to watch a lot of classic silent movies that starred Buster Keaton and Charles Chaplin, Charlie, right? Because those guys knew how to capture that elusive thing called pathos. It's that combination of sympathy and comedy. And that really is just what he needed for this character. Kind of funny, but it's very sympathetic. Your heart really went out to this little robot. And I'm drawing in his lenses here. Nice round circles there, kind of up in the top corner of this. I mean, Wally, he has found all sorts of baubles, all sorts of crazy little things that he's picked up and he's stored away in that container that he lives in with his cockroach pal Al. Yeah. And you know what? Stop talking, Thomas. Draw a little circle inside the circle. Okay? I'll get back to the story here in a minute. But I want to darken it around that circle. You see that? That little glimmer, that little white circle, that just brings the character to life. I love adding that in because it just makes him seem more alive to me. Okay? Now, this thing telescopes up and down, so it needs these little points where it can kind of collapse in on itself. So I'll draw in a few lines there to show that. Wally collects all sorts of things, and one of my favorite things is an old videotape player and a movie. An old movie. Does anybody remember what that movie was? Anybody know? It's a movie called Hello, Dolly. Did you know that? Hello, Dolly. You've never seen Hello, Dolly. You're just a kid. But I suggest you find that movie because it's a lot of fun. It's a musical that stars Barbra Streisand, based on a really famous Broadway play. And in the movie, the scene that Wally keeps watching over and over is where this handsome young man is singing a love song to this very pretty lady. It's called It Only Takes a Moment to Fall in Love. And that man that's singing that song is none other than Michael Crawford. You may not know that name, but Michael Crawford is a great star of the London stage and Broadway as well. He created the role of the Phantom of the Opera. He was the original Phantom of the Opera in the Phantom of the Opera. And that's him that you see in Wally singing that song. I think that's really, really neat. Let's go ahead now and draw in his hands. His hands are just these little paddles, right? He's basically got 2 fingers like this. It's really hard for him to hold hands with Eva. You may remember that. But they're going to be kind of perched up at the corners of his body. I'm going to draw in these little squares right here and right here. They're kind of up like a dog, begging for a treat almost. That's what I think of when I see them. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and lock these things in. There we are. In fact, you might be able to find, I think Hello, Dolly for a while was on Disney Plus. I seem to remember that they were showing it because it was made by 20th Century Fox many, many years ago. And of course, now Disney owns 20th Century Fox. There's a little knuckle at the top of each of these paddles, and there is that separation in the middle so that he can move his, and kind of open his fingers and somewhat grip onto things. The top of his body is right here. Now we can get those sides in place, just like that. And let's define this line and start adding some details to that panel. There's just some rectangular vents right here. Just like that. I'm going to put a little separation. There's 2 of them there, and then there's one smaller one right below it, like this. Shade those in just to give them a little bit of color. Just a little bit. Okay? Now over here is his power source. Does anybody remember how he is powered? What powers him? Solar power, exactly. There you go. And so this is his solar power panel. It's a rectangle, a big one, and it's cut in half And on this side, right in the middle, is the little sun symbol that he picks up the rays of the sun, and I'll make those sun rays coming off of it. And on this side, it's the level of his power. So, you know, I'd say his tank probably right now is about half full, and I'll divide it up into little sections and then shade it in down here just to show that he's got about that much before he runs out. All right, last but not least, we've got to put his name right down here. I'm going to go to this corner. I'm going to draw a little circle like this. That's where I'm going to put the E, W-A-L-L-E. Does everybody know what those letters stand for in this case? Yeah, but there's more to it than that. The W stands for waste, allocation, load lifter, earth class. Very good, very good. Okay, you ready to write those letters in? I like to do it this way, buddy. Let's start right here. I'm going to put the E in first. I like to work backwards. I find that I can squeeze things in better this way. Okay, so there's a little dot in front of that E in the circle. And then, of course, there's a capital L and another capital L and a capital A in front of those L's. And last but not least, or first of all, I should say, the W, just like that. And why not? He needs a little pal. And he's got a great pal in a cockroach named Hal. You never hear Hal's name mentioned in the film. Throw this little dark banana right down here and give him these two circular antennae and just four little legs coming down like that. Hal's name came from a great old movie producer director named Hal Roach. Hal Roach was the creator of The Little Rascals, way back. Laurel and Hardy and stuff like that. Last but not least, sign your waste allocation load lifter earth class. He is a wonderful character. He really, there's wonderful, wonderful things and very, very hopeful messages that come out of this film. It's just as timely now as it was several years ago when it first came out, got the Oscar. I think this film will always be meaningful.
My favorite movie.
Let's see if we captured all of those wonderful qualities of this character, okay? Did y'all have fun drawing him, first of all? Did you have fun? All right, well then, let's have an art show. I'm going to count to 3. Everybody hold up your Wallies. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Show me those Wallies. Very nice. Wow, that's a big Wally. He's huge. He can pick up a lot of garbage. Great job. You guys did fantastic. Look at my kids. And I love the way that you do Hal. It's Hal. Great job. Oh my gosh. Way up in the back. Terrific. Hey, give yourselves a great big round of applause. Job well done. Well, you've been a wonderful audience, and this young man right down here, I can tell he's really, really excited, and he's a great artist too. So I'm going to give you this drawing. Would you like to have it? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? I can't wait. I cannot wait. In fact, can I have that drawing? Let's trade. Would Mom and Dad mind that if I took that one? Let me see it. I'm so proud of this. I'm going to take this home. That's wonderful, buddy. You know what? I got to get off the stage right now. Jill, everybody, thank you so much for coming. We'll see you again real soon. Class is dismissed.
Big round of applause for your artist, Thomas, everyone. Thank you so much, Thomas. And thank you all for joining us here at the Animation Academy. The doors on your left are now open. But before you leave, we ask that you please prop your boards up back against seats with the pencils back in the spring. If you have any paper that you'd like to recycle, we ask that you please toss it in the recycling bin at the bottom of the ramp as you exit. If you'd like to continue working on the drawings of Wally, we have plenty of pencils and table space down at our Sources Workshop. It's just across the way. You're more than welcome to continue them there. If you'd like to join us for our next class, we're going to be drawing Buzz Lightyear next. We'd love to have you back for that. We just ask that you please exit the theater and join the rest of the guests in line waiting for the next show. But if we don't see you all, have on to the rest of your day here at Disney California Adventure.